You smell what The Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody who do you want. Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling dealing.
Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Talk 'em in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast that puts the focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and of course we pontificate upon the promo. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me, and I'm joined by the team. Out west, we got Out of League. What's up, man? How's the holidays treating you?
Oh, I'm loving it, Adrian. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Greg.
Good stuff. And here in the great state of Georgia, we got our historian, Greg. How you living, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Repping the A, of course.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, if this is your first time checking us out, thank you. Leave a like, comment, of course. Let us know that this is your first time. We'd love to go back and forth with y'all in a positive direction more often than not. Go to intothebuilding.com. That'll bring you to the back catalog. Plenty of episodes, plenty of great conversations about pro wrestling, and more specifically about the promo, something that we don't feel gets enough love these days in the industry. So check us out. Check out those past episodes. But today's episode, since we're going to the holidays, I'll be honest, we're on a little tight schedule there, y'all. But it's the holidays. We got a dusty review for you. It's a good one. It's coming from Ring of Honor Wrestling. And I just want to get you all's opinion on it because this is a guy that I'm pretty new to. And hopefully he makes some waves in the near and future. According to their booking, it definitely looks that way. But before we get into it, we have to talk about the aftermath this past weekend was John Cena's final match. That's a wrap. But no matter how great of a card it was, which it was a really good card, we all talked about it. We all enjoyed it for the most part. No matter how good the main event was between John Cena and Gunther, all of the discussion, all of the conversation are circling around that finish. The finish in which Gunther did submit the 17-time world champion, the future Hall of Famer, first ballot, whatever you want to call the legend John Cena. There was a smile involved. There was a lot of boos or AEW chants or whatever you want to talk about, however direction you want to go. I just want to flat out start off by asking you, Greg, what were your first reactions to not only that match, but definitely that ending?
So first reactions to the ending, I was disappointed. Now keep in mind, we're going first reactions, right? They sucked me in, which is what is supposed to happen.
Bingo.
I was sucked in. I was on that ride. I was on that roller coaster up and down. I'm like, there's a few times I'm like, yeah, oh man. And they sucked me in 100%, and I wasn't prepared for that ending, to be honest. Like, there was a part of me in the back of my head that was like, Gunther's going to win this thing. But the way that Cena was going and the way that crowd was, I'm like, man, he's going to pull this out.
Right.
When he hit that little smile, I'm like,
what's up?
And there was a part of that made me think, oh, now he's about to make that little miracle comeback. And then he did that little tap, Cena. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The air just got let out.
Definitely.
But what it reminded me of, and that exact moment was Cody losing to Roman. That's how I felt.
Because we all were expecting Cody to 100%. Win that match,
100%.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And you could clearly tell with the crowd reaction, there was that, not like this. Whoa, like what the hell? That was the reaction out of most people. And it's kind of natural that a lot of people were upset with it because this is John Cena's final match. And, he's, for a lot of people, he's their GOAT.
Mhm.
And a lot of people weren't happy with that finish. Just the fact that he got submitted, the fact that he smiled while he was being submitted. Even though I've seen some think pieces on it in the past 24 to 48 hours that have been very intriguing, I will say. And I know we've been talking about it in the chat as well as online spaces about that finish and all that speculation. But fast forward to Monday Night Raw, y'all. Right now, recording is Monday, but we just finished watching the opening segment. And Adelie, and I'm going to turn it over to you. They sent Gunther out, I think, just to really test the crowd to see, hey, did this really hit? And it seemed like it landed with the crowd because they pretty much booed the crap out of the dude.
Yeah.
He only had like maybe 2 or 3 lines. And for me, that's chef's kiss. That's chef's kiss of pro wrestling. But Ali, what were your thoughts on that opening segment? And, what do you foresee with Gunther's future?
In an era where we're so fixated on, they're letting us peek behind the curtain too much. They're this and that. This was the most pro wrestling thing I've seen in a bit. It's like, we got a heel. We're going to make you hate him.
Right.
Because he destroyed your hero. He destroyed your generational hero, this genre defining person. And now he's still going to be here next Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone. Might make an appearance here and there. So that segment on Raw kind of encapsulated perfectly because it turned the promo segment on its head, right? The promo didn't end until he was in his car out of the arena.
Perfect.
That was the end of the promo.
Yep.
It wasn't him walking back and forth into the ring. Him giving the smirk to AJ, giving the "you can't see me," all that was tactful. All that was by design, so intentional, just to let the audience grow, let the audience keep booing, and leave you wanting more because they planted all these seeds, right? Otis, they planted, our Truth, right? They planted all these people that will have some kind of like civil war because, hey, you down their hero, you down there, and in AJ's view, his, he put him above Shawn Michaels, right, as the greatest wrestler of all time. So there's so many seeds planted that you think, and this is a comparison I'll make because it's the one that I can think of, Brock. When Brock would make a win like this, and Punk said it in one of his like disgruntled interviews, he's like, you want me to put over Brock, but who's going to be there on Monday? I am. So why are you putting over Brock? And here it's like, hey, it kind of makes sense because we are going to see. And look, there's some contestants here on the pod that we've said, like, this is the next big bad. He's the next big boss. And if this didn't solidify it for everyone, whether you like the finish or not, clearly we're talking about it. And clearly he's going to be the guy for a while. So I'm just curious to see like what comes of it because the discourse has been awesome. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. I was telling you out of lead backstage or whatnot. I've had at least 3 or 4 friends who don't watch wrestling. That legit, maybe they watched it at one point of their childhood or some point of their life, but they are not current fans. They're subscribers to the podcast like most of y'all should be. But they reached out to me. They were like, yo, is this really the end of John Cena? And yo, what is the deal with this and that? Trying to get caught up really quickly while it's happening. And that's pretty cool, I think, when you can, connect. Like, I know wrestling fans cringe at the thought of the casual fan, but they do exist. And when you grab a hold of the casual fan, 9 times out of 10, you're doing something right. So I will say with that opening segment from Raw, it continued a narrative where it's not just the fans that hate Gunther. It's it's the locker room. Now it's the locker room. These people were fans of John Cena also. R-Truth, the biggest John Cena fan storyline wise, right? And it's going to be a cool narrative to push throughout the next couple months, or hell, for the rest of his career. This is probably one of the biggest wins that you can actually put with Gunther. So I'm digging it.
And the coolest thing about it to me is you see AJ upset, you see Truth, you see these others, and I'm like, I don't think they're from even character standpoint. You can't be upset that he won. He didn't cheat. He didn't do nothing wrong.
Yep.
He beat him in the middle of the ring. And the thing is, it's like that's what's so special about this. We talk about the best villains believe they did the right thing. And ain't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
The cool thing about this, and then if we go into a business standpoint, right? Like I said, you asked me my initial reaction from a fan standpoint. Emotionally, I'm like, but if we have Flashpoint, we're in a different timeline, and Cena wins. Where are we at today? I rarely tune into Raw live. I usually watch it the next day, later on. Not tonight.
Right.
I was like, they're gonna start out with Gunther, and I'm gonna be on there live to watch to see what happens. Why? They talked me into the building. That's what we talk about on this podcast.
Correct.
You talked me into the building, and that's what you did Saturday.
Yeah.
You got me to watch. And then when going back into the business piece, you had a lot of casuals watching that show.
Yep. Just to see the after effects. Will John Cena come out?
100%.
You know,
and if Cena wins, they're all like, cool, I saw it. I'm done.
Right.
How do you hook them into watching tonight?
Right.
You don't do it by putting, and it is what it is. You do it the right way. Because what do we do on Saturday? We showcased the next generation. A little bit of the current generation with the next generation, right? And so now, if you're going to showcase that on the undercard, you got to do something on the main event the same way.
Yep. That's a great point. Great point. True. And the only thing that I will say, and this is definitely nitpicking, and this isn't even me saying, you know, this should have happened and all. I'm definitely not that type of podcaster. I'm not a know-it-all by any means whatsoever. But with Gunther's promo, I felt that was a perfect opportunity to end the "You tapped out" chant. Like that was the first thing that the crowd was chanting to him. They weren't chanting "Let's go Cena" or any of the or "You suck." Their first chant that the crowd said was "You tapped out. You tapped out." That was a perfect opportunity for Gunther to come with a mic drop and say, "You're right. I did tap out. John Cena," and then just leave them, just drop the mic or whatever. And then you're not chanting "You tapped out" anymore because now he can use that against you. I felt that was a missed opportunity. Hopefully, Gunther, you're watching the podcast since you're obviously got kicked out of Raw. You can actually take notes and use that at the next live event you go to. But listeners, let us know in the comments, what did you think about the finish of that match? Do you see a huge year for Gunther? I think he well earned it after all the work he did this past year. I thought he was the MVP, and I stand on that. But great show. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that show overall, man. Yeah, it was a really good show. And a great showcase of the future, like Greg said. Shout out to Soul. Shout out to Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Shout out to Oba, who looked like $1 million, man. Like all of them, the next generation, like they handled right, man.
But also shout out to Dragon Lee, AJ, Bailey, and especially Cody, because you didn't just have the future, you had the right veterans with them.
All right, let's get into this Dusty review. Like I said, it is coming from Ring of Honor. Are you guys subscribed to Honor Club?
No,
of course not. No one is. I don't know why the hell they're even doing that.
I was like, Adrian, are you?
That was my little shade. I have to average at least one Tony Khan shade a month on the pod. But this comes from Ring of Honor up and coming talent Blake Christian.
It has been my year all year. And let's be honest, Bandito, it never should have been you and Roosh. It always should have been me and you. And it's funny, I've been chasing you for 6 months, letting you know that I want your championship. And you have found a way to dodge me every single time. And I hear that arms got you out of action for a little while. So I want you to know, Bandito, the next time you and I are in the ring together, I think I'll take that other arm too. And that Ring of Honor World Championship.
I want to know initially, and mind you, all three, none of us are subscribed to Honor Club, so we're not deep in the lore. But out of lead, I want to know, give me some pros of that promo.
I mean, right away, I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar with, the pieces, right? Not familiar with who he is as a character, because the last time I saw him, he wasn't in civilian clothes. And all I'm getting from this is clearly there's some, there's already a backstory here that I'm not privy to. I haven't been familiar with. But surely as a promo, especially as something so limited in time, I mean, he's hitting all the notes, right? I don't say by the numbers, but he's telling us what we need to know.
Right.
I don't get the only caveat here is I think I'm hearing more about Bandito than I am hearing about himself, but that can come after the fact, right?
Okay.
Because now all I'm thinking about is, okay, so you're clearly up to date. This isn't an old promo because you're talking about the arm injury.
Right.
And I guess they feel confident enough that he can mention Bandito in some kind of feud because he might be healed up already. So it's an interesting existence this ROH is, because sometimes we see peaks of it on AEW main roster. Sometimes it lives on .com or on digital, or mostly it lives on digital. And it's a shame because I can see someone like this, if it was truly treated as a minor league, not as a secondary program that is trying to be another show in and of itself, we might be able to see these guys flourish, because there are talented guys that are just like Blake Christian here, who
definitely
has been in other indie promotions, is an incredibly talented pro wrestler. Yeah. But I don't think we've ever seen that personality, that sense. This is the first time I see him saying more than just a couple of words that I cared about. Right.
That's a good thing.
And there's some passion, there's some fire there. Obviously not super seasoned, but give him time. So purely as a promo, I think it was fine. I think he hit the right notes and giving some sense of urgency with this feud with Bandito. But beyond that, I couldn't say more because I don't know more about him.
Okay, good points. Greg, I want to know, we've talked about this previous podcast where the point of the promo obviously is to talk you in the building, and I want to say it was Ada Lee who brought up a checklist, like a simple checklist where, are you giving background? Are you giving the motivation? What were your thoughts on Blake Christian's performance overall with this?
So my first thing is I'm not the audience.
Okay.
Because it's short, it's sweet, and I don't know any of that. When you go to face
That's true.
You didn't promote a card that I heard. You didn't promote for me to subscribe. I don't know, and this is not me being totally negative. It's being from my point of view that I'm not Honor Club, right? I'm not following it. So me taking this out of context is like, I have no idea what's happening.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I didn't know Bandito was a Ring of Honor World Champion, so I had no clue. So because I don't follow it, and it's not that often on AEW, and when I do watch it, it's not there.
Right.
So I have to seek this out. If I seek it out, which most of the people who are watching this week to week are going to be your hardcores.
Absolutely.
So you don't necessarily have to explain everything to them. That's why I say I'm not that core audience for this promo.
Definitely.
Based on if I was week to week, I'm sure it was a fine promo, right?
Mm.
I mean, he hit a few points. I guess Bandito is hurt. He's next in line. Da 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 da. But it was kind of short, sweet, to the point, almost too short. Even if I
Mhm.
was the core audience, I feel like it
Yeah.
was too short. What's his motivation? What's the why? Any of that
Right.
kind of stuff. But again, not being that core audience, it didn't hit those bullet points, right? It didn't tell me when, didn't tell me where, didn't tell me why,
Bingo.
didn't tell
Right.
me how. It didn't tell me, because it sounds like there's a little bit of a personal issue there. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know anything outside of the title, and it's a big thing that we just talked about Cena, and I watched Cena talk about something. He said he always wants a why beyond the title.
Mm.
Why are we fighting beyond just the title? And that was missing in that promo.
Mm. Those are good points. I mean, when it comes to that promo, at least for me, and this is the reason why I brought it. Oftentimes with our reviews, we already have context. So
Hmm.
sometimes I feel, and this is just me speaking for me,
Mhm.
sometimes I feel going into some of our reviews or our critiques, we're using context
Hmm.
that we're already aware of
Yes.
situations, characters, motivations, and all of that. And then we're using that to further our feelings,
Hmm.
whether or not the promo is good or not. This is a good exercise for the three of us because this is a talent that we may have seen I know I've seen him in a few shows, but it's never been a point of me following Blake
Mhm.
Christian. And the same thing with Ring of Honor overall. Like as
Hmm.
soon as around the pandemic time when it was a wrap for Ring of Honor initially, that was pretty much when I was done with Ring of Honor, just
Hmm.
being
Yeah.
honest. Although I like a lot of talent that AEW / Ring of Honor have. It's just I'm not watching it. I don't have all the time in the day to watch every wrestling promotion, but I do have time to be able to check out these promos when they come online. They're posted online for the reason to talk us into the building, to talk us into Honor Club, to get engaged with the product. So I will give them high points on at least saying, like, yo, I've been chasing this man for 6 months. That's a long time
Hmm.
to be chasing after someone, to beat them. And to bring that background of an arm injury. Maybe I'm going to take your other arm and take your championship while I'm at it. Like, that's a good motions or whatnot. But like y'all said, when it comes to hitting a casual fan or someone that's fresh eyes, maybe it doesn't land the same. So it will be interesting to ask like a Ring of Honor diehard like their feelings on that kind of promo. So that's why I brought that one.
Hmm.
But let's go ahead and get these ratings going. Like we said, we always go on a scale to 1 being pretty bad. They could have kept it to 5 being must see television. I want to know from you out of lead, did it talk
Okay.
you into the building? And on a scale to 1 to 5 Dusties, what are you giving my guy, Blake Christian, and Ring of Honor?
Man, now that I started thinking back, I'm like, I saw him in GCW at some point. I saw him in New Japan. So I'm gonna go back to that point you said. There is bias in what we do, right? Like we're just human. We're
100%. Yes.
gonna give maybe a little leeway to someone that we know is capable of a good promo, I should say.
Right.
Here, I'm flying blind. Like I've seen him
Mm-hmm.
wrestle. I haven't really seen him do promo. So
Mm-hmm.
solely based on that, I'm gonna defer to Greg because there is something there is I don't know when this is happening, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just by design. We don't know when this match will happen or what channel or when or what event. So I'm gonna stick to a solid 3 Dusties only because had it been maybe 30 seconds longer, maybe we get more context, we get a little bit more backstory even. Um, and there seems to be other things going on. I don't think this is
Yes.
just involving Blake Christian, so clearly there's elements we didn't touch on.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give him credit because for someone who's probably definitely been doing this for a while, he didn't seem flustered. He didn't seem like, this was his first time looking and talking to that camera. And for me, that's just a sign of good things to come. Whether he's given the opportunities, unfortunately, sometimes that's out of our hands or out of the wrestler's hands.
Right.
But I don't know if it talks me into buying an Honor Club subscription, but maybe it talks me into following Blake Christian, maybe more than ROH.
Fair point. Fair point. Greg, did it talk you into the building, and how many Dusties?
I mean, see, that's one of the big things. I love how you put this in context, right? That this is something that we don't know.
Right.
And so for me, did it talk me into the building? I don't know what building it's talking me into. I mean, what building? I don't know where I'm going. And keep in mind, before everybody flips out, this is in a vacuum, right? This is not, I'm not critiquing his delivery. This is not his delivery. This is not him personally.
Right.
This is the context of the whole thing. I can't be talking to a building that I don't know where it's at. Don't know when it's at. Don't know how to access it. Don't know anything. So for me, it's 1.5. There's no context. It's not enough meat on this bone, right? To your point out of the lead, had he gone another 30 seconds and hit a few of those points, it would have jumped up faster. And if I would just looked at delivery and the fact that I feel like there's potential for him to blast this, for sure, dude's got talent on the mic. I mean, just based on what we saw there, right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel overly produced. It felt like kind of natural. But the question that you asked, did it talk me into the building? And that's one big piece when we do our Dusty reviews. Is it taking us to that next step? And for me, he didn't. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like to see more from him, but I'm not going to seek him out.
That's both of you guys brought valid critique and valid feedback for that promo and for Blake Christian. In my opinion, did it talk me into the building? Not so much. It did, however, at least pique my interest as to seeing him work against Bandito, because Bandito's been on a tear. If you haven't been watching ROH and AEW, Bandito's like, he's been cooking. So from the match standpoint, rock and roll, I'm with it. But in terms of me being locked into that feud, locked into their back and forth, anything, it didn't so much do that job. I will give them credit for talking about the length of their feud, which is 6 months. Like, at this point, this should be revving up. It's been 6 months. And just with the injury and his motivation of taking the championship, as well as the other arm, it seemed like he just wanted to hurt Bandito versus even getting the championship, which is kind of cool to me. So I'll give it 3 Dusties because of those facts. And I do think that maybe it may be my job of I cut it at a certain point of the promo. Maybe it was further context or something to disclose. But based on what I showed y'all, I think we all gave fair critiques and fair criticism of that in the presentation there. But listeners, let us know down below. What do you think? Did we get it wrong? Are we off base in our critique? Or are you right there with us and you're probably not an Honor Club member like the rest of civilization? But good luck. Good luck, guys. All right, fellas. Great episode, great recording as always. Listeners, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like what we just finished saying, maybe you're ROH, AEW, hardcore, thumbs down it. But give your reasons down below, because we want to talk. We want to engage. We want to get your opinions on the state of wrestling. We're not know-it-alls here. I'm going to continue to say that. We're not know-it-alls. But check us out, intothebuilding.com. That'll bring you to past episodes, past, present, future of pro wrestling. A lot of good conversations about pro wrestling, this thing that we all love, that's near and dear to our hearts. For Out of Lead Out West and Greg here in the great state of Georgia, I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. And we're out.